I was never someone who believed in the supernatural. I always thought these stories were just products of people's imagination. But after what happened to me, I'm no longer sure of anything. It happened on an ordinary afternoon while I was strolling through the mall. What should have been a simple trip to the bathroom turned into the worst nightmare of my life. I had just finished my snack when I felt the need to use the restroom. I walked down the hallway next to the food court, where the bathrooms were located. It was an ordinary restroom, well lit and seemingly clean. There were a few closed stalls, but it appeared empty. I entered one of the stalls, did what I needed to do, and washed my hands without rushing. But as I stepped out, I realized something was wrong. When I opened the door to leave, the bustling mall I had seen before was gone. The hallway was deserted. The lights were dim, some flickering as if they had faulty wiring. The stores that had been open moments ago were now closed, their signs turned off, and their display windows covered in dust. The air felt heavy, and a strange smell, somewhere between mold and rust, filled my nostrils. My stomach turned. I walked through the empty mall, trying to understand what was happening. That's when I saw her. Sitting on a bench in the middle of the hallway, a frail-looking old woman was watching me intently. Her gaze was piercing, as if she knew exactly who I was. "You shouldn't be here," she said in a low, raspy voice. "You came from another place. This is Setealém, and if you want to live, you need to go back immediately." My heart pounded. I had never heard of this place before, but the tone of her voice left no doubt. I was in danger. I ran. My heart felt like it was about to explode. I screamed for help, but only my own echo responded. I found an escalator, but it wasn't working. I dashed up the steps, desperate to find any sign of an exit. But when I reached the upper floor, I saw something even worse. The mall simply ended. There was no exit, no windows, just a vast, dark void where the rest of the building should have been. I remembered the old woman's warning. I had to go back. With all my strength, I sprinted toward the bathroom. I rushed inside and slammed the door behind me. I looked into the mirror and barely recognized myself. My face was pale, drenched in sweat, and my eyes were filled with desperation. I took a deep breath and opened the door again. This time I was back in the normal mall. People were walking around as usual. The food court was full, and the lights were shining just like before. I looked around, trying to understand if everything had been just a hallucination, but then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. My phone, which I didn't remember taking out of my pocket, had a new photo in the gallery. It was of the empty mall, with flickering lights and that same suffocating scent of rust seeming to seep through the screen. And in the background, near the bathroom, the silhouette was still there. I told my friends and family, but no one believed me. Everyone said it must have been a dream or an illusion caused by exhaustion. But I knew it had been real. I spent years trying to understand what happened that day. Then, one night during my research, I discovered something terrifying. I wasn't the only one. People from all over the world had reported similar experiences, always involving unknown places, feelings of disorientation, and the presence of mysterious figures. All these reports led to a single name, Setealém. I still don't know exactly what happened to me, but one thing is certain. I will never look at a shopping mall bathroom the same way again. And it was during this search that I met Ricardo, a man who reported an experience similar to mine, except that this time the portal was a bus. My name is Lucas, and what I'm about to tell you still haunts me. It happened a few months ago on an ordinary night after work. I took the same bus as always, following the same route I took every day. But this time, something changed, something terrible. I sat by the window, put on my headphones, and relaxed. I glanced at my phone and saw that my battery was running low. When I looked up, a chill ran down my spine. The scenery outside wasn't what I knew. The streets were deserted, the streetlights flickered, and instead of the usual buildings and shops, There were only empty roads and twisted trees. That's when I noticed an old man sitting across the aisle. He was watching me with a grave expression, as if he knew something I didn't. After a few moments, he leaned toward me and whispered, "You took the wrong bus. It's going to Setealém." My body turned cold. That had to be a joke. But when I looked back out the window, I saw something even worse. The world around us seemed to be dissolving. The colors were wrong, the lights had a strange glow, and a distant sound, like whispers, echoed from outside. I tried to stand up, but my legs trembled. "Get off at the next stop," the old man said, "if you still can." The bus began to slow down, but what I saw through the window made my heart stop. The stop was a small, rusted metal shelter, surrounded by absolute emptiness. No roads, no houses, nothing. Just an endless void. "Get off," the old man urged, his voice now desperate. I tried. I swear I tried. But as I stood up, I felt an overwhelming weight on me, as if something invisible was holding me back. The driver, whom I hadn't noticed until then, turned to look at me. His face wasn't human. The driver had no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just a shadow where his face should have been. When he spoke, his voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "It's too late now." The bus jerked forward, throwing me back into my seat. The old man beside me just lowered his head and murmured something I couldn't understand. The world outside grew even more distorted. Now I could see figures walking through the nothingness, elongated, twisted shadows peering through the windows. The road seemed to stretch endlessly. Then I saw something on the horizon, a colossal structure, a black portal pulsating with an eerie green light. The bus was heading straight for it. Desperate, I did the only thing I could. I closed my eyes and started praying. Everything around me spun. My body trembled, and the whispers turned into distant screams. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes again, the bus was full. People were talking normally. The driver was just a regular man, and the route seemed right. I looked around, searching for the old man, but he was gone. The worst part came when I checked my phone. There was a new photo in my gallery that I didn't remember taking. It was a blurry image of the empty bus, with the faceless driver staring directly into the camera. I tried telling my friends and family, but no one believed me. I spent months researching, and to my surprise, I found other people who had reported similar stories. People who had taken a bus and were never the same again. Now, every time I take a bus at night, I stay alert. I watch the passengers, the driver, the road outside, because I know if I take that bus again next time, I might not come back.